In my last video, I discussed the importance of establishing a vocal ritual, meaning where you assess the condition of your voice each and every day, whether you're singing or not. And I think that's a really important habit to establish. I want to expand on that a little bit because this involves a warm-up, obviously. To assess your voice, we typically do a warm-up to see how it's behaving. And I find that a lot of singers are kind of in the dark when they warm up. And what that means is that they don't really know what they're looking for. So they just do the cursory lip trill or a few scales and expect that to be what a warm-up is. But it's a little more involved in that, and it doesn't have to be a pain in the butt. You want to know what it feels like to be ready to sing. And I want every singer to have that as a destination. So whatever condition you begin in, doesn't really matter. That's irrelevant. It's what matters most to a warm-up is that you know when you've arrived at your destination. The destination called, I'm ready to sing. It may be a 5-minute journey. It may be a 3-hour journey. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is that you don't sing or you don't expect much from your voice until you're ready to sing. And I know I was very impatient with those things when I was first performing. And so there would be gigs and shows I did where I was extending my warm-up into the first, sometimes the second set. I still wasn't really feeling ready to sing. On my list, it's that the voice is slippery, it's weightless, I've got flexibility, I've got access through my passaggio, the things I discussed in the last video. What I want to do now is just discuss a prep to the warm-up. It's kind of like a warm-up for the warm-up. Because what I find I was bad at, and most beginning singers are bad at, is getting their body ready to sing. And so it's a little more physical than just standing there, looking in a mirror, or driving in your car and going and expecting that to do wondrous things for your voice. Now, instead, what we need to do is get the heart rate up. You need to get some juices flowing. If you do this in the morning, you've got to get yourself alert and awake first. So let a little time go by, but then I want you to get active with your body before you get active with your voice. So it's very simple. You're going to do, just some very cursory things. Start moving your arms like this. And then do some over-unders. And you want to do this until you can feel your heart increase, your heart rate increase. And then you want to make some shoulder rolls. And if you're hearing any creaking, cracking, and you got to slow it down, but you want to get to the point where you've got accessibility, some independence with all these large muscle groups. Then I want you to take your hands and sort of get your neck loose by giving yourself a little massage here, and then sort of give the head over to your hands so you can really move it about freely. It may take a while just for that to happen. If so, spend that while. That's why you got to start early enough to know if you're extra tense or rigid that day. It's going to take you a little longer to loosen up before you even start warming up your voice. And then migrate the hands here. So you're really just kind of scrubbing your face. Get really in there. And you want to give the skin of your face away to your fingers so you're actually moving parts around. Get some flexibility in there. And then what I tend to do is pay close attention to my jaw. Underneath there. Coming into these sinal points here. Just getting a little circular motion. Temples. And each one of these little moves can be done for a lot longer. Just depends how you feel. And I migrate down, get right in that joint, especially if I'm a little tender in there. Facial muscles. And then shake it out. Literally shake. So starting with my hands, I'm going to shake and then let that sort of migrate into my arms and then my shoulders. And if you're not laughing now, you're missing the joke. No, I'm dead serious. Point I want to make is this, that if you feel inhibited to do this, if this seems silly, if it seems like, I'm asking too much of you, you got to wonder, is that inhibition showing up in your singing? I think it is. And so if this feels too crazy to get your body shaking and get your head bobbing around and your arms moving, and certainly if you don't want to do that in front of people, then how are you going to be vulnerable in front of people? How are you going to be emotional or detailed or nuanced? How are you going to be free with your voice if you're reluctant to even move your body in a funny way because somebody in the next car might see you, or people, ready to perform are going to giggle? I know the feeling. I used to have this same thing, but this is the lecture I gave myself back then. I would rather be slightly embarrassed behind stage than humiliated on stage. And many times in the beginning of my performing career, I was embarrassed on stage because I was straining and struggling because I was too intimidated to warm up in front of the people that were hanging out backstage. I had that backwards. And you may too. So just keep this in mind, that when you get into that ritual of assessing your voice, you're actually assessing your whole body, your hydration, how much sleep you got, all these things. But I want you to get used to really getting active before you warm up your voice. And I think it will go down much quicker. I think you'll warm up much quicker. And therefore, get to the fun stuff. Get to the singing. I'm Mark Baxter for Lesson.com.